What's up, everybody? This is Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey, we're going to get right into this one, guys. This is the Eickhorn KM4000. It's a German military-style knife that a buddy sent me. Let's just start this sucker off with a bang. 2x4 Tonto-style blade. Let's see what we can get, baby. There you go, babe. 30 hits with an Eickhorn KM4000. Let's head over to the tabletop, talk about this a little bit, and we'll get into some more testing. All right, everybody. Hey, I wanted to jump right into this video, get some chopping done, you know, kind of pull you in and hold you, right? That's the goal anyway. Hey, thanks for joining me today. We got another knife review. This one's been a little bit long time coming, and I got to say sorry to my buddy Lebo. He sent me this a little bit while back. I've been busy with some other stuff, but hey, bro, thank you for sending this to me to check out. I appreciate it. So my buddy Lebo sent this to me. It's German. It's an Eickhorn Solgen KM4000, and I had never heard of this company before, so I had to look them up. It's a German company. On their website, it's kind of hard to get details about this knife on their website because it's all like in German, and I'm not computer savvy enough to be able to translate it with the AI crap that we got now. But you know, I'm just an old fart, so what do you expect? But I did go on to Knife Center, got some specs and stuff like that off of there. I think it was Knife Center Blade HQ. I got some knife specs off of this to give you guys. You know, looking at their website, a lot of their knives are military inspired or tactically inspired knives. And so Lebo was like, hey man, I'm going to send this to you. I want you to beat the tar out of it, and let's see if this German steel can hold up, you know? And I'm like, all right, cool, bro. Like, send it. Let's do this. And so basically what we got here is a Molly sheath system here. It's got Molly strap on the back. You got some snap up here. You can actually take this sheath off. So if you actually unvelcro this piece, and then there's a snap on the back of this. And there's a reason for this, by the way. There's a snap here. You can see the snap. You could completely reconfigure this however you need, or you want to come up with your own system. But this is the sheath. It's an integral part of the blade, right? So it's like some sort of a metal alloy. I don't want to say it's plastic, but it's got, I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like a hybrid metal plastic. I'm not sure what it is. But one of the cool things that was built into this knife is it's got this like wire cutter setup right here. You guys can see that. Let me make sure I'm getting that on the video. So it's got this wire cutter setup, and then it even has its own little diamond sharpening stone right here. Now I don't know how easy it's going to be to sharpen with that. But this thing it's an interesting sheath design. I hadn't seen something like this, not only with the the wire cutter, but the way this knife is held in here, it's got like a, let me see, get my other phone here so I can see if I'm showing this right. But if you look in there, you can kind of see that little piece in there, that whitish looking piece right there. It's almost like a compression type system. So this piece is sticking down and it flexes, and when you stick the knife in, it locks the blade in, but it locks it in very nicely, but it also draws very nicely, easily as well. So it's actually kind of a cool system. There's no rattle in this knife at all either. So, I mean, I guess if you're being, you know, stealthy tactical guy, you know, you don't want your equipment making any noise, and this thing doesn't make any noise. So that's it's pretty impressive in that regards. Again, the sharpening stuff, I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, look at that little tiny square. But I mean, I guess let me see here. I mean, or I guess if you wanted to, you could kind of go back and forth like this, you know, to sharpen it. But I mean, I guess in a pinch, hey, something's better than nothing, right? And this does have a very interesting, really, really aggressive sawback, if you can see there. I mean, it's I want to say it's a very, it's like it's similar to like how maybe Tops does their sawback, like with the alternating cuts, you know, where they're angled differently. But these are way tighter, closer together, if that makes sense. And try to get you a nice little profile. You can see that. So these are really, really aggressive. So I'd be interested to see how well those do. Now, I didn't look up how to use the wire cutters. I kind of wanted to see if I could figure this out on myself. So if like you just happen to pick this knife up off of somebody for some reason or other, would you be able to intuitively kind of figure out how to use the wire cutters? I don't know. I did kind of play around with it a little bit. And I think I figured out that you need to take this part off the sheath, because like I was trying to hold on to the sheath while messing with this, and it seems like you would just twist this out. So I would say you probably should take this off. But you got this notch here, which obviously matches up with the notch of the knife. You put it on here like so, and then I think you just put your wire in that little groove, and then you just rotate and snip. Now you can't do it this way. It doesn't work. It doesn't sit flat. It won't allow you to move it back and forth. So there's literally only one way you can put it on there, so you can't screw it up, I guess. It goes in this way, bam, bam, and you're not using your knife edge to cut anything. You're using this back edge right here, and it does have a little bit of an angle on it, if you can see that. And so I'm wondering if this angle here and this piece are like that on purpose to aid in that cutting of the wire. You have let's go over the knife specs on this. So again, this is the Eickhorn KM4000. You have a blade length of 6.5 inches, a handle length of 5 inches. Overall, it's 11.75. Your blade material is 1.4110 stainless steel. I didn't know what that was. I was like, what the heck is this? Apparently it's a steel that's used quite often over in Europe. Trying to look it up, I couldn't really find anything. I tried to say, okay, what is it comparable to, like with most of the knife steels us here in America use, you know, like with the stainless stuff, and it brought up a bunch of other comparison knife steels that I had never heard of, which I think are all European kind of standard over there. So that's definitely something I think I need to look into, is like, okay, we're all familiar with like 1095, 80 CRV2, 154 CM. We're all like, we recognize a lot of these steels that are used in the knives that are made here in the U.S., but I think I do need to delve in a little bit more into what steels are they using like over in Europe and stuff like that, and are they comparable to what we have over here? So it's going to be interesting to see how well this steel holds up. Again, it seems like it's widely used over in Europe, and there's a few different. There's like a 1.4116, and there's a few other little variation numbers. But it says it's stainless steel with carbon in it, and a high amount of chromium, I think, is in here as well. So it should have some good corrosion resistance for sure. But your blade thickness is 0.18. It's a Tonto style blade, obviously, with a sawback. You have the blade grind on it's flat. At least that's what they're listing it as. You have a black finish. It doesn't say if it's Cerakote or if it's DLC coating, or I'm not sure. It just says it's a black finish. You have a synthetic handle, which it didn't list exactly what the synthetic material is. I don't know if this is Zytel or if it's just plastic, or if it's it looks kind of like Zytel, and it kind of feels like that too, but it does feel solid. It doesn't feel super like cheap. It feels pretty thick, pretty solid. I am kind of curious, like how much of this tang is this, like a rat tail tang, like similar to the K-bars. You can see a little bit of a pommel here at the bottom, so I'm curious as like how narrow is this tang in here, and you know, how much does it drop down into here, you know, because that tends to become a weak point in a blade. The weight was listed at 11.64 ounces. I don't think that's including the sheath. With the sheath, I mean, I think you're looking a little bit heavier package. So this is a bit of a heavy duty built use knife. And you know, we're going to try it out, guys. Lebo said, dude, beat up on this thing. Let's see how well this German still holds up. And I mean, I'm assuming they're a pretty good knife. I mean, their website looks good. Again, it's just, I'm not knocking them or anything like that. I just had never heard of them. So I definitely want to see how well this thing holds up. I'm not necessarily a military guy. I don't know how to military fight or do any of that type of stuff. So I can't sit here and tell you this would be a fantastic, I mean, it feels like it'd definitely be a poker, you know what I mean? And you got a nice kind of built-in guards here. I do like how they kind of put a little bit of jimping on here, so when you get your webbing up in here, you can get kind of high and tight in there like that, and it's going to kind of hopefully lock your hand in place. We saw on that 2x4, it did an okay job of chopping that 2x4. Again, I don't think it's necessarily meant to be a full-blown chopper. I think it's meant to be more of a fighting knife, a survival knife type of thing. You know, especially with the saw back and stuff like that, being able to maybe cut branches. And we're going to try to cut some branches. So, and we're going to beat the tar out of this thing, guys. So let's head on over to the testing area and let's get this party started. All right, everybody, we're over here at the testing area. I just left the nylon sheath part over there. That's not really that big, the most important thing of this. One thing I did want to note with the way this sheath design is you could put it in pretty much either way you want. It's kind of almost ambidextrous. So I guess depending on, you know, with this, how you Velcro it on there, if you want to pull it out with a kind of backhand or put it the other way, and you could just kind of flip it around so it'll orientate whichever way you need it to for however you like to carry the blade. So let's get into this. You know what? I'm really curious about this whole wire cutter thing. So I went to the store and I didn't have any wire or fence around, so I was like, crap, you know. I found this. I went to the store, Home Depot or whatever, and I found this kind of piece of kind of galvanized wire. They use it to tie up other sections of fence and stuff like that. So this is probably close to the thickness of, let's say, a piece of barbed wire, maybe. If you kind of separate it, not like the twined up barbed wire, but hey, maybe we could twist this up and try it. You know, it's not the thickest piece of wool. It's kind of galvanized, but I mean, it's similar to fence. So let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. So we're gonna put this on like so. There we go. We locked in. There we go. All right. So I got, now this is where it gets a little weird, is I'm not exactly sure how I'm supposed to hold this in place and not cut my finger or drop that like so. There. So I kind of locked it in. So kind of holding it like so. That's why I say you got to take that nylon part off, but I'm just going to crank on this thing. This is kind of scary, guys, honestly. Oh, there it went. So cut it off. There's that piece stuck there, but there. Yeah, so it cut it. It's a little bit awkward. Let me pick this piece up. You guys look at the top of my head for a second. So there he is, cut it off. I wouldn't say that was the easiest thing in the world to do. Then again, I was also kind of scared it was going to slip and cut myself somehow. So maybe the whole purpose is, do you stick it? No, I don't know. I'm kind of curious, like on a fence, how would you do this on a fence line? You know what I mean? Like let's say you came up to that piece of that Constantino wire, as they call it, and you're out there in the field. Like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? Again, this is kind of scary in the fact that I feel like if this thing slips off or breaks, look at this is gonna go, tip is gonna go down into my hand. So I'm kind of, like I said, a little hesitant on this setup. Set this down and do it like this again. All right. Cut another piece off. I don't know if I like this, guys. I don't know if maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to sit here and tell you it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know. So that's just this kind of regular piece of wire. Let's try this out. This is a piece of kind of a 3/16 steel braided, stainless steel braided, kind of plastic covered wire, if you will. Let's try cutting this and let's see what happens. This might be a little bit of a long video, guys, because I'm kind of really wanted to make sure I got this thing tested out. So it didn't cut it. it more just squished it. You can see there. So it didn't really cut it, it's just kind of more squished it. So still braided kind of wire. Honestly, anything really thicker than this, unless I'm doing it wrong, and if I am, please forgive me, Eickhorn. I'm not trying to trash your stuff. If I'm doing, I could be possibly doing this wrong. It may work better than what I demonstrated, but as for ease of usability, I kind of don't find the wire cutter design to be that great. I kind of, this, it wasn't very smooth. I'm wondering, and it's kind of scary in the fact that as you're coming up, if something happens and this breaks or slips off and you're working this piece or even this piece, there's a possibility you could jam the tip of your Tonto style blade into your hand. Hey man, if I did it wrong, Eickhorn or anybody else that has this knife, please leave it in the comments below. Let me know. And I'll try it again in a short or something like that before I send this back. But not super impressed with the wire cutter right now. But I don't know. Am I going to be cutting wire a lot? I don't know. Probably not. But this is a Tonto style blade, baby. So let's see what kind of piercing capabilities we can get. And with this nice kind of rounded off guard right here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right there's the tip. Came through. Pretty much went through just about this catalog. Right there's the tip again. You guys can see. I mean, it pretty much went all the way through. And kind of nice is this. It's got this kind of diamond head tip to it. If you can see that, the way it's cut. So when you stab into something, I mean, it's got a narrow spot here, and then it widens out. So man, if you had to use this in a combat military situation, you know what I'm talking about. That's gonna leave a nasty hole, guys. So as far as piercing, I think we can pierce pretty good. But you know what? I was told to go hard on this thing, so let's go hard on it, baby. I gotta be careful. This thing's, I don't piece is full of nails. Where? Oh, there we go. This piece got nails in it too, but it's okay. We'll be all right. So. I'm stabbing deep into this thing. Prying this thing out. Testing that Tonto tip, baby. That's what she said. Oh, got it. Yeah, damn wrong. Ain't a damn thing wrong with that tip right there, guys. That thing is still needle point sharp. Sitting there prying through that wood. You guys see that right there? I mean, I could literally just keep sitting here and chunking this thing out and dig my own hole through this thing if I needed to. Look at that. Nice. Got a little spot right here where I almost went all the way through. So let's see if we can do that. Look at it. There's the tip right there. Woo! So, God dang, man, that tip held up really good. Nice. So, obviously we could do that. Let's say you're in a combat situation. I got tree sap on my hand now. You had to apply some combat medicine or maybe pierce into a thigh of a zombie bear wearing a pair of Levi's. Look at that. All the way through. Doubled up on the pant leg there. I hate it when I get tree sap on my hand. Through the back pocket. Through the zipper fly, if you will. So, yeah. What was that, like in Rambo when he made his coat in First Blood? He stabbed it through that tarp. Look at that. Cutting and ripping. So definitely cut up some pants if you needed to. let's say you got to cut up some rope to make your, so you just made your Rambo, John J. Rambo poncho, right? Now you got to find this crappy ass rope and wrap it around you and tie it off. So you're like, man, I need a piece quick, man. That old dirty sheriff's coming after me. Bam. Got a piece just like that. Not bad, not bad. There we go. Let's say you want to be a little bit more precise. There you go. Slice through, cuts it pretty good. I wouldn't say that was the cleanest cut in the world. And this thing's got a pretty good edge to it, so there we go. So can you cut some of that rope real quick? Absolutely. Come in here, you got your paracord. Cut through this stuff. Kind of chop it if you need to. I mean, this stuff's easy to cut, so it's not a big deal. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I just noticed something. When I went to do that cut, right? Look at your guard right here hits the stump before your blade does. So if you're going to cut, you need to come off to where your handle guard is not going to hit the stump, so you can get a better. I was like thinking to myself, man, this thing should chop better, you know. I should be, with these chops, I should be cutting through. So let's come on the edge. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Kinda. I don't know. I'm not super impressed with the chop on this either. You know, I'm not usually one, I don't know. I feel like this thing should be chopping better. That's weird. I don't know. Am I doing something wrong? I don't know. I don't want to sit here and I'm not a guy who likes trashing blades, guys. So you guys see my videos, you know that. Okay, that was better. Okay, that was better. I'm gonna chalk that one up a little bit to user error. And when I'm coming down like this, I don't know, my handle's hitting. When I came right here on the edge, I was able to really get that blade to hit. So that might be a little bit of a factor, though, depending on where you're at and what you're doing. Like, again, if you have to chop something, let's say you don't have an edge to hang off of, you might have to find another piece of wood to put on top, so when you go to chop, you don't hit your guard. Okay, so it's something to keep in mind. I don't know if you're necessarily going to be running around doing a shit ton of chopping with this blade. I think you're going to be doing a lot more, you know, boop, 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 poking, you know, a little slash, a little poke. So this is that poly rope again, but this is like way thicker. This is like 3/8 inch thick poly rope. So I'm going to put it down here on the edge so I can try to get that good chop. Damn, okay, that was a good one. Nice thick rope there, so made a mess. I'm going to have to rake all this up. And then here we go. This is that sissy rope, guys. So this stuff is like really thick. This is, oh shit, that's at least 1 inch around, I think. So it's coming down here. See if we can't get that good chop on it. Oh yeah, there it went. So that was a good chop. So I think that was me, guys. Coming in, when I'm coming down right here, the pommel right here, the guard is hitting the stump, which is not allowing it to chop as good. When I come down here where I can really get all of the blade to hit, it's actually chopping pretty good. So I'm going to chalk up that chopping a little bit to the design, and also maybe you gotta think a little bit more about how you're going to do your chopping when you're using, if you have to chop like some rope or something like that really quickly. So chopping up rope and stuff like that, can you do it? Absolutely. Now let's try this sawback. I have this piece of, this is a 3/8 inch quarter, 3/4 by 1 foot round piece of hardwood dowel that I got at the hardware store. Oh, kind of drumstick, sorry, got distracted. I thought about using the sawback. Yeah, let's use the sawback on this. Let's see. So we're going to set this down right here. Eating away at the wood pretty good. You can see there, not bad. So if you had to make some notches with this, let's see if we can stand this up. How fast can we saw through this thing, though? That's the question, right? Is this really designed to be more of a notch, or is this designed to be a full-blown, like, saw? You know what I mean? I don't know, because the website is all in German, but mean, it's making a pretty clean cut. I mean, look at that. Nicely, I mean, nice clean cut. I mean, if you had to, I mean, that would obviously trap my rope if I was making a tent stake right now. You know what I mean? Be a lot, I don't know if it's necessarily quicker than cutting your notch in, but if you need a deeper notch or something, or you need a cleaner cut, I mean, it's definitely a way to do it. You know what? We're just going to saw this little piece off completely, guys. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this saw works, but this is a piece of wood, nice, clean, round wood dowel hardwood, you know, or dowel hardwood. I can't even talk today. But definitely say this isn't the fastest way to do this. I feel like I could easily come in here and just well, there it goes. I feel like I'd be better off just doing this. Come in here, put it down there, cut a piece off way faster. So, but I mean, if you need to make a notch, this saw works pretty good for it. If you needed to come in here and make your, excuse me, nose itch, make a tent stake, I would come in here again, do these quick little chops to speed up the process. I'm choked back on here, so it's nice that there's a little hump here I can choke back, kind of do little whip chops, if you will, get it down to where I need it, and then I can come in here and start trying to hog off material. Get you down to that nice vampire steak point. Well, I'll tell you, not hogging off meat as much as I would like. I don't know, guys. I'm you know, the wire cutter thing, may be me. But I mean, it's getting there. It's just not nearly as, it doesn't hog the wood off as fast as a lot of other knives that I've done videos like this with. I mean, the edge is still there. It's not dull. It's just not hogging the meat off like I think. And I don't know. I wonder if part of that has to do with the grind on here. So you got this kind of shallow flat, and then it thickens out really quickly. Maybe that doesn't lend itself very well to, you know, slicing, if you will, or maybe slicing like in a combat situation, but maybe not so in like a woodcraft situation. Let's see if we can. Make some feather sticks and curls with it. Yeah, I mean, it's doing an all right job. Again, it's not the best thing I've ever used. So for basic kind of woodcrafty type stuff, is it gonna work? Yeah. Is it the best? No, I wouldn't say this is the best slicer dicer I've ever dealt with. You know, I mean, I've had some other military style blades that have definitely shaved a little better than this, like do wood carving stuff. But I mean, if we're looking at this from the standpoint of what's it designed for, I don't think this is designed to be doing bushcrafty things. So I wanted to try this saw blade on a piece. This is a piece of seasoned almond wood. This is hard wood, right? So yeah, look, made a decent little notch there. So the saw blade on the back actually works. I don't know necessarily if it's designed to be like a full-blown saw to be sawn through like really thick logs all the time. I think it's made more for maybe notches and stuff like that. One thing I think you'll run into with this as well is if you're stabbing into stuff, these little saw blade teeth are going to catch on clothing and things like that. Might be a bad thing, might be a good thing, depending on what you're stabbing, right? Like, you might have to come in self-preservation mode in a war-torn situation, and you know it's going to go through, and you might catch the clothes coming out, but you also might pull some other stuff out with it. So could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't know. If you are in the service or ever served in a combat situation, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Let us know in the comments. But you know, the saw blade works. Is this blade going to hold up to some batoning? We're going to find out right now. So let me get this piece of seasoned almond wood right here. I'm going to put this bad boy up here. Said, Buddy Lebo said, beat on it, man. I said, all right. So, all right, split that pretty easy. That was nice. This isn't a super thick piece of wood either, but I mean, yeah, there you go. Let's see what else we got here that we can put on through. Let's get this big boy right here. On through that. You know what? We're gonna. This isn't necessarily batoning. He said beat on it. We're gonna beat on it. Let's go. Oh, let's drive it in there. You can see that. Let's put it right here. See if we can't get a better angle here for you guys. So it's definitely driving into the wood right here, as you can see. But again, what I kind of ran into is as I'm getting down lower, this guard is starting to get on top of the wood. So you can see where I was hammering it in, it was going in, but then you see these little indentation marks right here. That's from the hand guard coming on. It's as I'm getting deeper, it's getting up here and it's starting to bounce, and it's kind of basically stopping the blade from going as deep as it can. So but for the intended, didn't realize there was a snail on the back of that. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to kill Gary, you know what I'm talking about, or SpongeBob SquarePants, you know. Ooh, that's a good little cut there. Hey, so that's interesting. So earlier I was having maybe this piece of what I was using. Ooh, that's a good curl right there. So if I'm doing kind of this like little fast rubbing type motion, not necessarily slicing type motion, I guess, but making some nice little curls right there. And I just cut them off. But batoning a little bit, absolutely do it. Here's this 1 inch, I don't know, couple inch piece of thick round stick. One thing, I'm not, that was good. I'm not 100% sold on this as I feel like I'm sold on this as a combat fighting knife. I'm not sold on it as a full-blown survival knife, if that makes sense. Right now I'm feeling like what this is intended for, self-preservation, piercing through, you know, vampire skin and zombie skin, you know, doing those just brutal kind of hack and slash moves. I feel like this is definitely going to hold up to that task. But when it comes to bushcrafting, basic fire type stuff, it's not excelling in that arena. To me, it's not. I think this is a purpose-built knife, and if you're buying this because you're going to be, hey, this is going to be my one do-it-all camping blade, I think you'd be disappointed with it in that. If you're utilizing this to carry into a war zone, I think you'd be pretty good. pretty okay. This plastic or Zytel hand, I'm not sure if it's Zytel, but this handle's holding up. I mean, obviously when I was batoning, it took some hits right here on the front. It held up fine. Back here, it's holding up. This blade feels solid in there. It doesn't feel loose. Got this little pommel. I don't know if that's supposed to be there for, you know, cracking coconuts and adjusting attitudes, but we're gonna hit it anyway. See if we push this blade out at all. Nope, still holding in there tight. No wiggle, no movement. Edge is, well, it's okay. It's not, it did, it's still sharp-ish, but it's not sharp. You know, it did take a little bit of a, it's not nearly as sharp as it was when we first started, but we also did pound on it quite a bit. And I was told to, so let's do this. Oh, one thing, I almost forgot. One thing that you might have to do in the military is, I don't know, open up a can of food. You're out there, your MRE, whatever it is. I mean, we're talking old school World War II MREs with a can or something, you know. Or maybe you got a gas can you got to puncture or something, you know. But guys, let's stab a can. Not a problem. Now, retrieving the blade out of the can is a little bit of a problem because the saw blade are catching on the metal. So let's just do little hits so we're not going so deep. Pierce it through. Let's say you needed to open this bad boy because you got to get to that menudo in there. This was a can of menudo, by the way. I love menudo. Let's see. I should probably do it this way. Trying to think if I was going to use this as a can opener. If I was using this as a can opener, I would probably be doing it wrong. But yeah. Peeling that can open, I guess. Hey, where there's a will, there's a way, right? Oh, I missed. Oh, I think that's definitely one of the problems with the saw blade is when you stab into something like this, these teeth just want to catch, and then it just, look, it doesn't pull out very easily. Man, it leaves a nice hole though. So, side of the can. Damn, just cut my finger. Whoopsie. So, what happened there wasn't the blade. That little edge right there from the can, when I opened it, caught my finger. So, darn it. Well, I guess we're not making a knife video if you don't get a little whoopsie daisy every once in a while, right? So, bam, there you go. So you can cut up in some cans if you need to. All right, everybody, I'm back. Hey, don't worry, I'm gonna live. I didn't lose my finger. Honestly, it was more like a little paper cut. So it just looked like it was bleeding a lot, but it was actually not bad at all. So that was my fault. I didn't realize that little piece of metal was sticking up on the edge there. Should have known better. But hey, stuff happens when you're playing with knives, but at least it wasn't the knife that cut me. So we got that going for us, right? But guys, overall, man, I gotta say that I just don't know where I stand with this knife. I think it's a cool design. It's comfortable in the hand, but I just wasn't overly impressed with the kind of cutting performance of it. Even with the rope, it struggled a little bit. Where I've even had duller knives cut through that rope a little easier. It just edge-wise, it's fine. It's just not nearly as sharp. It lost its edge fairly quickly. I've got other knives that I've done a lot of these same tests with that still had a damn near hair popping sharp edge. This ain't cutting the hair off of nothing. You know what I mean? I don't feel like this held its edge very well. The sawback, it could be problematic, I think, in the fact that if you're having to pierce into stuff, it's going to catch on things, especially with metal. As you can see there, it was like it really got stuck. I think if you're stabbing through clothes, you know, there's a possibility that it's going to come out with it. For a combat knife design, military law enforcement combat design, like, I don't think you want this getting caught up on stuff if you had to stab into something, you know. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. And if I am, please let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to take a constructive criticism. I like the design of the blade. I like the feel of the blade, but I don't like this guard. I felt like the guard got in my way when I was trying to do kind of chopping stuff, you know, coming in, hitting things. It's just kind of like, I mean, it gets in the way. Now all I have is this little tiny, not even this part of the blade right here. I just literally have this spot right here is the only thing that's hitting whatever it is you're trying to chop. So you have to kind of come back and think about where your guard is when you're chopping, so you're not hitting it. So I feel like it kind of takes away from the chopping capabilities of the blade. Now, granted, I know it's not designed to be a chopper, but you know, that's stuff that people do with knives. That's stuff that people have to do with them. So, I mean, overall, I feel like there's better options out there with this blade. With a combat style blade, I mean, I feel like there's better options out there. You know, Phobos Knives has some great combat blades that, one, you can do all the combat-y type stuff that you probably need to do, but it's also going to do a lot of the survival woodscrafty stuff you need to do without having to think about where you're placing your knife to do it. So that's just one example. I feel like there might be better options out there than this Eickhorn KM4000. Eickhorn, I apologize. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings if you're watching this. I think for a straight up fighting blade, if that's all you're using this for, it's going to probably come in, it's going to do the job. I mean, this tip is still stupid sharp and like ready to rock and roll. But the wire cutter feature, I wasn't super impressed with. The sheath I do like that sheath design, you know, where this compression kind of lock and the weight, how quiet this thing is, you know. I mean, it's just, I do like that. I think it's cool. But overall, I think for the price of what this knife is, I mean, looking it up on Blade HQ, I mean, these things were running around $300, somewhere in that area. I think there's just kind of better options out there than this. I mean, if you really like this design, hey, by all means, go for it. But I think there's better options out there. Just my opinion. Lebo brother, thank you for sending this to me to check out. I appreciate it. I hope I ain't breaking your heart with my opinion on it. But I mean, it is what it is. So guys, thanks for sticking around watching. I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll see you on the next one.